I'm Jeanne Carney-Guter, and I first remember Velma not Velma,
Lonnie. Lonnie.
when we started school, and here was this little bouncy, dark girl that was everybody's friend. And she was particularly a friend of the Yules. And those girls stayed home and kept house while their mother worked downtown. And Lonnie would go down there with them, and they'd make cookies. And they'd burn the cookies. And they would tell all the neighbor kids that this was chocolate, and the neighbor kids would come over and eat the cookies, the chocolate cookies. And after that, I spent many, many years with Lonnie, doing everything we could. Another thing I remember we did particularly, on Sunday afternoon, we'd get permission to go downtown. And in the service stations, they had a room where the women could go in and you could sit down in the room, and they also had a bathroom in there. But anyway, three of us, two or three, whoever would be there, would go down there and spend the afternoon, and we'd sit on that bench they had and tell stories to one another. Can you imagine? This was so smelly in there, and we thought this was so much fun.
I'm Velma Briette Bloomgren, and I am happy to have this honor of wishing you a happy birthday on this special occasion, and I want to send greetings to the rest of the family who I know love you very much. But I didn't know Lonnie until the year 1926. That's over 80 years ago now, and we just happened to go through the doors at St. Mary's School in Morris together, and so I can't remember anything particular at that time. I was too young, I guess, to have it sink in. But anyway, I knew her the whole 12 years at St. Mary's until we graduated in 1938. And those years, the 30s at that time, were the Depression years, and anybody that had any money at all or investments in our bags, it was a crash, and so everybody lost every cent they had in the bags. And but so we were really kind of all poor. We were all financially the same. Well, there was 11 girls and 2 boys in our class. But Lonnie, being only a block away from school, everybody walked then, because I see no cars. But 3 of her best friends, which was Jeanne and a Helen and a Frances, they all lived within a block or a block and a half from St. Mary's also. So they had the advantage. They could do a lot of fun things together after school while I'm sitting out here on the farm, and I never got to join them until we found out during these years of the 30s, the Depression years, you could go down to the movie house on Main Street then and go to every Tuesday night to a movie for 10 cents. And so when we got in high school, the 5 of us, her 4, then they let me come, if I could come in and stay overnight with one of the girls, see? And so anyway, we all came with our dime. We never had a cent more to buy anything else. But I don't think they had popcorn and pop at a movie house in those days like they do now. Everybody has to have the extras. But anyway, we would all meet at the movie house and go and see the movie. We didn't have to worry about X-ray movies because there wasn't such a thing 80 years ago.
Do you remember the movies?
Oh yeah, they were love stories, but love stories where you didn't get married to the very last scene. No, they were very good movies, and but we really looked forward to, if the weather was nice, we never missed a Tuesday night movie, and that was a thrill for me because at our house, we never ever got to be taken to a movie. So that was a real special treat. And then afterwards, we had slumber parties most of the time. So we were 5 in our group, and we would giggle and tell stories all night long till the wee hours, and then had to go to school the next day. But then I always got to stay overnight in town, so that was a real thrill for me. I remember that part the best, about enjoying Lonnie and Jeanne and Helen and Frances.
We had one teacher that was very, very strict. She was our English teacher, and she asked us to write this essay, which We did, but we were disgusted because one girl in our class always got an A, the next one's got a B, and the next one's got a C, and there was no way you could improve it. You couldn't, and we just knew she wasn't fair to us. So this time, we all copied it. We all wrote the same thing, and we turned it in. We were scared to death of what was going to happen.
And then afterwards, we had slumber parties most of the time, and we'd go to Jeanne Carney's house. Oh, what's that?